Merry Christmas and welcome to Tammy's Kitchen. It's the most wonderful time of the year and one of my very favorites, Christmas time. And today we're going to be telling you a bit of a story. It's the age-old story and the reason that we celebrate Christmas. And it's been told a number of ways and time again, and I never tire of hearing it. And today we're going to tell you the story of Jesus' birth using food. So I hope you'll stay with us as we take the journey back to Bethlehem and try out a few tasty treats. The Christmas story as told by food. The story began a long time ago when an angel told Mary how God would bestow His grace upon her to bear His own Son. From the Virgin was born the Anointed One. A virgin with child? Now that sounded crazy. Even Joseph did not believe his dear lady. Mary seemed nuts till the angel appeared to Joseph with truth that he needed to hear. So Joseph was glad and made Mary his wife. He would father her child for the rest of his life. And before the birth, they all had to go to Bethlehem and make their show. Caesar demanded that everyone be in the ancestors' town for the census decree. Nazareth to Bethlehem was about 80 miles. There were rocky roads and many trials. Perhaps it was cold, perhaps there was snow, and things got worse when birth pains would grow. Mary and Joseph could not find a place to give birth to the baby, the child of grace. So when Jesus was born, he was probably laid on some hay in a manger where animals stayed. The shepherds with canes came to look at the sight. It was just as the angel described it that night. Wise men were meanwhile making their way to see the new king. All the stars seemed to say that the time had arrived that Messiah would come to the land of the Jews, though from east they were from. The child called Jesus, which means God saves, he was God's special gift to a world enslaved. He was fully man and yet fully divine. He would save us from sin through his loving design. Strangely enough, he was born to die, to set us free with God Most High. Though he had no sin, he bore our shame, that a place in heaven we could claim. Wasn't that a great story? I love the poem. We're going to start on some of the recipes now. I'm not going to do them exactly in order because of chilling and the different things that are involved here with making the recipe. But the first thing we're going to start out with is the pecan pie cookies. So in my bowl here I have 2 sticks of butter and a cup of sugar. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a half a cup of sugar. Okay, we're going to call that fluffy. I was to beat that till it was fluffy. So to that we're going to add 2 egg yolks and a half a cup of dark corn syrup. Okay, I'm going to turn my mixer down and we're gradually going to beat in 2.5 cups of flour. Well, I think we need to get that back in there. That dough is pretty stiff. Okay, this is supposed to go in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. And while it's chilling, we're going to make the filling for our cookies. And in our saucepan, we've got 3 tablespoons of butter. We've got 2 tablespoons of dark corn syrup, and we have 1/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. A little bit of a strange ingredient mix there, and the proportions are a bit odd, but that's what it said to do, so that's what we're doing. So we've got this on medium heat, and we're going to stir this a bit until it comes to a boil. So it'll take just a few minutes here to get heated up. That's good. We'll take it off the heat. And we're supposed to add 1/4 cup of pecans plus 2 tablespoons. Again, with the proportions, I'm not sure, and I'm not going to measure those. I'm just going to dump a few more in, and we'll call that good enough. It smells really good. It smells kind of like caramel. Okay, I'm going to pour that out into another dish, and it's to chill in the refrigerator until you're ready to put it in the cookies. Okay, we're moving right along with recipe number 2, and we're going to make the batter for our angel cookies. And in this bowl, we have 3 cups of flour, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, and a cup of butter. And we're going to use our pastry blender here and mix this up until it looks like cornmeal. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Give it a few more twists here. Okay, we're going to set that aside. And in this bowl, I've got 2 eggs. And we're going to beat those. And we're going to add a cup of sugar. We're going to mix that up really well. Okay, we're going to add that to our flour. Like my spatula, it's festive looking. It's been a long time since I have mixed up cookies with a wooden spoon. I've gotten kind of spoiled using my big mixer. I don't know why I didn't get that out today, because my arm's about to break. Phew, I am exhausted. That was really hard work mixing up that cookie dough. So if you make this at home, use your mixer. But at any rate, it is mixed up, and it's going to go into the refrigerator for about an hour to chill. Moving right along here with our cookies for our Christmas story, the next cookie we're going to make is the Winsor Star cookie. And I've got out the big guns this time. I about broke my arm on that last batch. So in my mixing bowl, I've got 3 sticks of butter. Yes, count them, 3. And to that, we're going to add a cup of sugar. Okay, it said to beat that until it was just combined, so I would normally have maybe beat that up a little bit longer, but that's what it says to do, so that's what we'll do. And to that, we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, we added our vanilla, and in this bowl, I have sifted 3½ cups of flour and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to put the mixer on low and just slowly combine that. Okay, it said to just combine those until the dough started to come together. So, I have done that. And now we've got to get a floured surface and dump this out onto it. Okay, we're going to dump our dough out here onto this piece of parchment paper that I have floured. Just gonna work it back together here, form a disc. Okay, piece of plastic wrap here. Wrap that up good, and yes, you've guessed it, into the refrigerator to chill. Okay, more cookies, you guys. This is the last cookie we're going to mix up for today, and this is a snowball chocolate chip cookie. So, in our mixing bowl, we have 3 sticks of butter. Yes, count them 3. A half a cup of powdered sugar, a tablespoon of vanilla, and a half a teaspoon salt. So we're going to mix that until it's combined. I have to plug the mixer in though, or the mixer won't work. That's much better. Okay, I believe that's creamy. And then we're going to gradually beat in 3 cups of flour. And this cookie recipe also contains no egg. Okay, for our last 2 ingredients, we're going to add 2 cups of miniature semi-sweet chocolate chips, those little teeny baby ones, and a half a cup of chopped pecans. Okay, we're going to get out a baking sheet and form these into balls and get those into the oven. We're just forming our snowballs into snowballs and just using a tablespoon of dough and making it into a ball, and we're putting this on an ungreased cookie sheet. Okay, our cookie sheet is full, so we're going to pop those in the oven, and I've got that set for 375, and we're going to bake for about 10 to 12 minutes. Our cookies are hot out of the oven, and we're going to sift some powdered sugar over the top, thus creating the snowball effect. Okay, we're continuing on making our cookies here, and I've got our pecan pie cookie dough out of the fridge, and we're just forming that into 1-inch balls on this baking sheet here that I've lined with parchment paper. Okay, and we've got some egg yolk here that we had left over from when we made the cookies, because this recipe just called for us to use the egg yolk. So this is egg white that's left over from that. We're just going to brush the tops. Okay, these are going to go in the oven for 5 minutes at 375. Okay, our cookies have been in for 5 minutes, so now we're going to take the end of a wooden spoon, and yes, this is the spoon I was using earlier that I busted stirring up those other cookies. We're going to make an indentation in the middle to hold our filling. And I've got a half a teaspoon here, and we're just going to put a scant half a teaspoon in each of our cookies. A little bit labor intensive, but kind of a neat effect. Wow, that worked out just right. Imagine that. Okay, these are going to go back in the oven for another 4 to 6 minutes. Okay, our pecan pie cookies are out of the oven, and they look and smell delish. So we're going to put these on a rack to cool for 5 minutes, and then we'll take them off and let them cool completely. Well, the cookie marathon continues, and we've got our angel cookie dough here on a floured plastic here. This is my little Tupperware pastry board thing. And I'm just going to roll that out. And we'll want this to be fairly thin. I mean, not paper thin, but we're going to, of course, cut this with the cookie cutter. I think that looks pretty good. And we'll just put these on an ungreased baking sheet. This dough rolled out really nicely. It's easy to work with. I hope the cookies taste as good as it was easy to make. This is a little bit different recipe than what I usually use, but it does make nice dough. Okay, we're going to put those in the oven at 375 for about 10 minutes. Our angels are out of the oven. Those might have been a little bit browner than what I would normally have liked, so I might cut the baking time back on that by just a couple minutes, but I think they're okay. So we'll put these out here to cool. Okay, we're moving on with our Winsor star cookies, and I've got our dough here rolled out. This dough was a little bit difficult to work with. It's very stiff. But we're going to try to cut it out and see what we come up with. So this is a funky little cookie cutter here, and this makes both halves of the cookie for you. I got this at Michael's, and probably any craft store gets them, but you push down the center and it'll make the cutout in the middle of the second cookie for you. Okay, this is going to be the bottom of our cookie. And we're going to put this handy dandy little attachment in here. And that is going to be our center, or our top cookie with the center cut out rather. There we go. And we'll just push our dough back together and roll it out again. I actually think it'll be a little bit easier to work with the second time around. It was really stiff from being in the refrigerator, and the heat off my hands, I think, has made it much more pliable and easier to roll out. Okay, we're going to pop these into the oven. These are going to bake at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes is what the recipe calls for. That sounds like a long time to me, so I'm going to start checking them before that. So get back to you on the cooking time. Okay, I checked our Winsor star cookies after about 10 minutes, and some of them are actually more brown than what I would like them to be, so by all means don't cook them for 20 to 25. They would have been black. So at any rate, I'm guessing around 8 minutes would have been my personal preference on those. So we'll let those cool, and we're going to mix up a bit of frosting here for our angel cookies. Okay, we're going to start just a bit of frosting to put on our angel cookies. And I've got a tablespoon of butter, and over the top I've poured 2 tablespoons of hot water. And I'm just going to use my mixer to, that hot water should have loosened up my butter a little bit, but we'll blend it with a mixer. I'm not sure how well that really worked, but we're going to add 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Okay, that looks like it's just about right. So we'll decorate our cookie here. Okay, we're ready to frost our angel cookies. And that was a really simple little frosting that we just mixed up. And it was actually just right for spreading consistency. So I've just got some colored sugar here, and just on the very top of her little head, I've just put some yellow. And then I have some white sugar just for her face. And then I'm just dusting it with a little bit of blue for her gown. So nothing fancy. You can just make these very simple, but they're still cute and they look festive on their plate. If you're an expert at decorating cakes and cookies, you can make these as elaborate as you would want them. That's not really my forte, so I'm sticking with the simple. Okay, to finish up our Winsor star cookies, we've got our cookie that we have baked, and this is just some red raspberry preserves. And we're just going to spread a small amount of that on the flat side of our cookie. And then we're going to top it with one of the cookies that has the center cut out. And as you can see, I've dusted the top with powdered sugar. Those are really pretty, I think, with the red star in the middle. Okay, we're going to start on our haystacks with the baby Jesus in them. And we're going to start by melting some butterscotch chips and a cup of creamy peanut butter. And we're just going to do this in the microwave. And I'm going to put this in at 50% power, and I'm going to start with 3 minutes and see how melty we are. We're going to multitask, and while our chips are melting, we're going to start on our marshmallows. So I'm going to cut the ends off of jumbo marshmallows. And you can use kitchen shears or a really sharp knife, whatever you prefer. The instructions said to only use the ends, not to use the middle. So I guess that's what we'll do. I'm not sure what makes the difference, except that the middle is obviously really sticky. Okay, we're going to make little baby Jesuses out of these sliced almonds. This is just a food marker. And I'm just going to make a little eyes and little nose on here. And then we're just going to stick it down into the marshmallow. And it looks like a little baby sticking up out of the blankets. So those are going to go on top of our haystacks. Okay, we've got our peanut butter and butterscotch chips out of the microwave. These butterscotch chips did not melt as well as I would like, but I think it'll be okay. To this mixture, we're going to add 4 cups of chow mein noodles. Just want to be sure those are all coated really well. I'm trying to turn the bottom over so that you can get all that good stuff off the bottom. Okay, I'm just going to drop these out by tablespoons onto some parchment paper. And we kind of want to make these look like little haystacks so that we can put our baby on top of there. And I'm using the sticky side of the marshmallow to stick to the hay. We're going to start our Rocky Road fudge now, and this is a microwave recipe, so this should be a fairly quick and easy one. We've got a package of milk chocolate chips and a can of sweetened condensed milk in our bowl. We're going to pop those in a microwave and microwave for about a minute, and then we'll stir and keep, popping it back in for a few seconds until we get everything combined. Okay, that was a minute in the microwave at full power. And boy, that has really just pretty much got most of it. I might put it back in there for another 10 seconds or so, but that is just pretty good. I don't think I'm going to. The more I stir, the more that the chips have totally melted, so I don't think it needs any more time in the microwave. Whew, that's awesome. I'm loving this recipe. Okay, we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, and we're going to add 3 cups of miniature marshmallows. And we're going to add 1.5 cups of walnuts. I believe that's pretty much the whole bag. Okay, we've got our fudge mixed up, and we're going to dump that into a 9x13 pan. And as you can see, I have lined this with foil, and I just greased it with a little bit of butter. Just makes for easier cleanup, and it makes it easier to cut it too, because you can just lift the foil out and not have to try to get it wedged out of the pan. Kind of hard to spread. It's starting to thicken up as that chocolate cools off. Okay, then you just cool that in the pan, and then you can cut it into small squares. So we're going to clean up a bit, and we'll be right back. We're taking a little break here from our Christmas story. I just wanted to show you a little bit of a table design that I put together for today's show, just to maybe give you an idea or two of something that you could do that's not expensive and still gives a very holiday feeling to your table. Just a plain green tablecloth on the table here. This is actually just an old kind of crocheted tablecloth that it's actually got some holes in it, not much good for an actual tablecloth anymore, but I just kind of gathered it as a table runner and as a bed for our pine. These are real pine branches that I cut off the neighbors' trees, with their permission, of course. Thank you, Dan and Sandy, for letting me have some branches. And just kind of arrange them down the middle of the table. Just some pillar candles and a little centerpiece in the middle. I've thrown in just a few gold Christmas ornaments. And to kind of highlight it, there's just a strand of battery-operated lights. Again, not much money wrapped up in this, but just something to give your holiday table a little pizzazz. And then for our place settings, we've just got a red charger, a black dinner plate, and then a fancy Christmas dessert plate that matches our stemware, and these lovely gold tableware settings. And I'd like to thank my coworker Beth for loaning me the place settings here. They've really added a lot to the decor here, and I appreciate her loaning me those. And just, you know, some little Christmas dishes and some nice water glasses here at the end of the table. Again, nothing extremely fancy, just a little festive for your Christmas guests. So I hope that's given you an idea or two. And well, we're back to close things out. Unfortunately, we ran out of time today and did not get to finish with our divinity. But the recipe will be available if you'd like to request it, or it will be available online as well. But just to wrap things up today, we've told the Christmas story with food, and we've got angel cookies, we've got pecan pie cookies, we've got some Rocky Road fudge, some snowball cookies, the baby Jesus on a haystack, and some Windsor stars. And again, we didn't have time for the divinity, but if you'd like it, we'll be happy to send it to you. We hope you've enjoyed our story. It's been fun telling you the story in a little bit different way today. And I'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. And thanks for watching Tammy's Kitchen and CVTV.